Okay, so thank you very much to be there to take part of this talk about the conditions necessary for the advent of sport in Africa. So first of all, can you please introduce yourself? I think we will start with you, Kofi, if it's okay.
Okay, so my name is Kofi Sika LATZOO. I'm based in Senegal. I have a Togolese nationality and Estonia E nationality. So I am the founder and the creative director of Gamecampcities agencies. So we are a 360 gaming agency based in Senegal. With activities since 2012, pioneering gaming events, eSport, B2B gaming education. And since 2018, we have now an eSport team called Ham Lions. I'm also a gamification consultant certified by GIZ and BMZ. And I am also Microsoft educator, eSport leader certified. Thanks to everybody to accept us in this panel today.
Thank you. Maybe we can go with Cholwe, sorry.
Okay. Thank you much everyone for having me here with you. Apologies for the internet connectivity on my end. So my name is Cholwe Ellen Shabukali, and I'm the co-founder and managing director for Team Geometrics Limited. We are an esports organization based in Zambia with a reach around the continent. We primarily manage careers of gamers, and what our goal really is to help gamers turn their passion into sustainable careers. And we've been doing that in the fighting game niche, and as well as doing various online and offline tournaments in Zambia for various stakeholders, both local and international companies. So our vision is really to create a sustainable ecosystem around the passion that us gamers share within esports for our continent, but also to expand that internationally eventually. So I'm very happy to be here. Zambian by nationality, but I consider myself a global citizen. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to learning from my panelists as well.
Thank you. So Keya, you can go now. You're mute. I don't know.
All right. Thank you. Honored to address you guys. My name is Keya Nicholas Anthony, mostly known as Keya Nemesis. I am primarily a musical artist, and my experience with intellectual property led me towards gaming because of the ability to create synergies and sync licensing contracts between the two industries. Also knowing that gaming is right now financially the future as to how much can be done and what it is grossing right now. In Uganda, the initiatives we have going on that I've co-founded are Telalila, which also means the play of God, and it's a collective for artists, especially creatives of the gaming and music tracks, to be involved towards coming together to create a society and leverage off each other's skills or independent works, thereby creating some kind of a circle for that kind of creative to be able to exchange business quickly and try and emulate an economy at some point. Then we have Enter Africa, which serves a similar purpose but across 16 countries in the sub-Saharan region of Africa. Enter Africa was initiated along with us through different workshops a couple of years ago with Goethe Institutes in 15 now 16 countries, including Sudan. And we've been able to showcase our ideology and our gaming solutions at the Gamescom and Amaze Festival. We are also working on a co-production with Spiel Fabric and forging eSport connections in the country as well. We have done workshops with the Finnish Church Aid quite recently, about a year ago, called the Developing Creative Industries. It's a pilot that involved hackathons, involved the music aspect in terms of producing the music, and brought us closer to the ideal of merging the two sectors, especially in Africa, because gaming could borrow a lot from the momentum music itself has now got in terms of the international scene. Yes, so there's Enter Africa, there's Telalila, and that's the initiatives we have, aside from maybe the Brainstorm, which is a podcast, also for creatives just to get the visual and audio conversations and probably talent out there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the first question is, Africa is poorly represented in international eSport. Why? Isn't it unfair, the absence of African players from major international competition? Maybe Kofi, you can start first.
I give the hand to Cholwe.
Cholwe is in the lobby right now.
Okay, so okay, I will take that. I will take that.
I'll allow someone else to start for now. Question.
Okay, so I think that is a great question, but also a difficult one. I will try to have, if I can, a smart response. First of all, it's important to understand that gaming and esports are related of the presence of data centers on the continent. And in Africa, we don't have data centers. What does it mean? It means that when we want to play in other competition or generally online, we need to join on a server or data center, which is not our data center. So if I play from Africa on the data center in Europe, the gaming company will see me like a citizen of Europe and not Africa. So this is the first thing. The second thing is about sometimes the perception of Africa in the media. It's very important to acknowledge that. And I will take, for example, an example. In 2013 exactly, we co-produced the first event of gaming for Guinea-Conakry. And as an agency, we succeed to put the storytelling about this agency, this event in Forbes, in the Forbes magazine. And the edition of the Forbes magazine was for the year 2015. It means that it's 2 years after that the global audience know that, in fact, in Guinea, we did an activation for a real gaming event. So this is sometimes the reality that we have on the scene, because if we want really to be visible, we need to be visible on big media. And generally, when big media want to search story in Africa, they never think about gaming or esports. They will think about petrol, disease, climate problems, corruption, every negative keyword. So I think that for me is the two major traits of the visibility of the gaming community worldwide.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Keya, you can go next and react.
Thank you so much for that. Those were two brilliant points that I had you state so well. Quite, quite something I've learned about is the data server points. Yes. From our perspective, though, we've been trying to understand the gaming and esport sectors in terms of production. So we've tried to see how we can indulge ourselves into the actual production of the games so that perhaps we can now build bridges to co-produce with European players so that we can be able to capture the visibility aspect. Because when you present at the Gamescom, you end up getting some of that visibility when you present at the Amaze or when you co-produce in a market where the government actually released funds to take care of a particular industry vis-a-vis gaming, then you're able to siphon some of that capital towards where you're coming from so that you employ yourself to actually produce and especially at that level. So for us, that has worked for us. Obviously, it's a bit difficult when it comes to the actual resources that are needed to actually build an economy, because it's a one-off in terms of somebody's making a game and it's taking a couple of years, someone else has made a story, and they creating a merging of all those different moving parts to create a product that's viable is a trick because of the time and the turnaround of things. So we've had to concentrate mainly on things like workshops where we try to push the message out, therefore to create a ripple effect of people that are interested in the scene in numbers so that we can have a numerical power which we can then leverage to try and again build a sustainable market. Something else would be approaching NGOs with the aspect of what we can offer the market, also giving data about what gaming is actually doing for Europeans and Americans and the Asians. Looking at it from a point of view that it can be a way to actually digitize our countries faster. If the question is internet and that the internet is expensive, perhaps a big influx of people using the internet in that particular way can help to create the momentum of lobbying towards cheaper internet and more effective internet, especially if it is an economic activity. So that's mostly where we've been trying to attack the situation, and we've had some incredible results. However, the questions we have are in the terms of the legal aspect, with actually being legal and having the ability to siphon funds from prospective partners out there in the world. Because again, our countries understand gaming as betting, so they don't necessarily see the economy for what it is, obviously, because we're ruled by older people who are out of touch with the evolving of the markets as they are. So that's a trick, but we are going around it and actually looking at gaming and music together as intellectual property, so that now we can even leverage the way the market themselves, the way the product itself makes its movement in the market. Because obviously, if you have a game like Gran Turismo maybe or FIFA and it has a personality like Cristiano or Messi, those are contracts that are signed. And imagine that in gaming, if someone is playing a game and it has a soundtrack, obviously that's music. And the gaming has an audio-visual aspect as well as might have the music itself with the video. So these are different streams that we are looking at attacking so that we can then have a chance to actually take a bigger bite of the gaming economy and sustain ourselves.
Okay, I think that everything that is said is clearly true, and I can say that I was with the first batch of the project of the Anti-Africa in 2019 in Berlin when they show up to a maize festival. So I think that is a great strategy to co-produce 15 games for 50 countries. But as he said, it's a problematic of finance and funds. And today, when you want to engage a so big mega project, yes, the structure of the project is innovative because it's about collective intelligence, co-production, but it means that we need also financial engineering in a creative way. Because if you want to develop in the same period of time 15 different games, it means that your budget also need to be bigger and more sustainable. So I think that for me, the best way to engage projects like that is to have the capacity to divide this big project in different IP, perhaps in different formats, not just video game, but perhaps video games, comics, music, and then try to push in the market smaller projects for promote the big one. This is my point of view so far when I saw this project. After that, it's important for us in Africa also to understand the geography or the economic geography of the world about gaming. Germany is the fifth most powerful economy in the video games worldwide. The Gamescom is the world's biggest gaming event in the world. It's not the GDC or the E3 because they succeed to have more than 300,000 people attendees in three days for 50 million revenue in just 3 days too. It means that if Africa wants to show up or wants to prove what she can produce, we need to be in the great place where the business is show up. I think that is very important to understand that. I will also give a little example. When we decide, for example, to launch our eSport team, we engage our project from the beginning with our Olympic vision. So we begin to start the project in 2015, and we launch our eSport team in 2018. And in 2021, we were qualified for the World Open Olympics, which is one of the first biggest eSport competition accredited by the Olympics. And because we show up on the biggest events and biggest sports events in the world, it already generates a lot of opportunity because we were where all the attention is. When you look at the statistic of the Olympic Games this year, inside the pandemic, they reached 5 billion views. It's the most viewed Olympic Games in the history. And we are very proud to be part to this story because at this moment, Africa show clearly what it's capable to do. I remember some players from Gamecampcities team from Cholwe was there. Mr. 5000, which is a eSport player from the team Gamecampcities Zambia was there. Ham Lions from us representing Burkina Faso. For example, it was the first time that Burkina Faso has a cyber athlete in the big events. So all these configuration have positive storytelling for us, for the brand, and for Africa. So I think that it's very important that all people who play or work in the gaming space understand that they need to work 3 times more harder than others for being seen in the scene. And this is the reality. You need to be there where things are happening. I think that is my take on that for the moment.
Okay, thank you. I saw Cholwe disconnected again. So Keya, you want to react? Oh, I see you. Okay, Keya, maybe you want to react, and Youssef, I see you. Well, maybe
I think Youssef is there.
Yeah. Youssef, if you're there, can you? Okay, I think we can't hear you. Maybe you can try to reload. Okay. So, Keya, maybe you want to react?
Yes, I agree with what he has said. Because of the reality of the finances and the collective intelligence, those questions, unfortunately, the way to answer them has a lot to do with creating a critical mass in terms of production and also the market itself, the interest for it locally. So far, the resource that can be drawn towards these questions to create a solution are coming from the international perspective. And that means NGOs, that means co-production companies that are willing to, not co-production companies, but companies that are willing to co-produce with African countries because they realize it in itself could be a good way for social corporate responsibility, which is something that we also leverage on to pitch to multiple partners to try and satisfy that urge and, spread ourselves around, because the reality of the finances and the collective intelligence is a tricky one. Perhaps also what we tried to do is to have our presence in 16 countries now. Sudan just joined us, so that therefore we can spread our influence through the local teams situated in each country, and then have them leverage multiple opportunities and share them across the network, so that now we can try and see how collectively, as a block of 16 countries, can help us. And so far it has been working. We've been able to secure partners from here and there from multiple perspectives: Burkina Faso, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa. Everybody's been doing something to try and create sparks within our capital belly from different points in our stomach, because we understand the impact the gaming sector has, and also myself having the experience from the music industry and having seen how it is evolved, dealing with the players, the digital service providers from a musical perspective, dealing with the way they pitch towards advertisers in order for advertisers to take up the music and cross-pollinate it with different products, be it fashion, be it gaming, which is the really big one, be it film in terms of soundtracks. The way they try and make sure this product can latch onto another product with momentum has taught me that creating a synergy with the gaming is a match made in heaven, and also creates a shortcut for us to try and work it out. So that's how we are trying to tackle it. But yes, it is a real issue that perhaps having an influx of capital could help to break it down and build from that point of view. Otherwise, if it's left to our own devices, our momentum could be faster than it is, but we have the passion, so we sort it out.
Okay, thank you. Youssef, can you hear us, and can you try speaking?
I think I'm here, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Great, perfect. And on the other end, Cholwe, can you hear us, and can you try speaking? Okay. So Youssef, we will go with you. I don't know if you follow all the talk, but first of all, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is We started back in 2015. It was a very hard journey at the start, since we didn't have any platforms to participate in tournaments on. We didn't have any sponsorship opportunities, so we can provide income for our players. So we started developing just for the sake of developing. We started focusing on the players' lives, both academically and interpersonally, so that we can prepare for the moment where everything is provided in terms of a platform, in terms of tournaments, in terms of all the basic things you might find in any place in the world. By 2017, when everything started to build up in Africa and the Middle East, when we started to see tournaments in League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Crossfire, and Valorant, we participated in the IESF World Championships as Egypt and the continent's representative in the League of Legends finals. We succeeded in passing the group stage, the quarterfinals, and eventually placing fourth globally in our first World Championship. That, in its very essence, was enough to prove to the investors we were pitching at the time that we had something special. We then received an investment of $300,000 in 2018, and we used all of that funds to develop our players even further, providing them with a gaming house where they can live together with a proper internet connection, providing them with PCs, providing them with a salary, all the things you might find globally. We in 2020, we had the IEC, the Intel Arab Cup, which was the first official League of Legends tournament for the Middle East. We ended up finishing first. We won it. Then we won the national tournament, the same version of the tournament, but with national teams. We represented Egypt, and we ended up winning the Arab eSports Championship. And of course, we finished it off with this year by winning the region's first World Championship in Madrid, Spain, where we won the Valorant Red Bull Campus Clutch. And of course, I was late today because we just won the semifinals for the Strike Arabia LAN finals, which is a $50,000 Valorant tournament, a huge opportunity for us because the team that wins will end up playing against the biggest teams in Europe for a slot in the Berlin finals in December this year, inshallah.
Okay, thank you. So we were speaking about the representativity of Africa in international eSport and why it is poorly represented. So isn't it unfair, the absence of African players from major international competition? We were speaking about that.
Of course, that's a huge problem we have. We're not even considered as a continent. We're not considered as a region in any S-tier global championship. I'm talking about the publisher-sanctioned tournaments for all the big games. They don't use our players or our organizations in terms of the tournaments themselves. We don't have a way to qualify. We never had. Even now, the tournament we're playing in Valorant, we have to win against all of the teams in the Middle East. And once we win against every single team in the Middle East, we will be placed against the top 8 teams in Europe. And we have to play through an online connection from our side of the world, while they play with their low ping. What is ping? Of course, I think you've discussed this before I joined. If I'm an Egyptian, a Moroccan, from Sudan, from Algeria, from anywhere really in Africa, and I want to play one of these games, I connect on a European server against people from all around the area I'm in, plus Europe. So automatically, the better I get, the higher the skill level of the people I matched against. And when you reach that level, and most of the people you're playing against are from Europe, you end up playing with around 60 or 70 millisecond ping, which is the millisecond it takes your computer to communicate the action you've taken to the server. It takes us 60 to 80 milliseconds. while in Europe, the same guy that's with you in the game has a 5 to 10 millisecond connection. So our internet is 5 times slower, and we don't have the path to play on the same quality of internet when it comes to any nation in Africa or the Middle East. So this is our biggest obstacle right now. For the first time, we had the opportunity in Spain to play on the same internet line as all the teams that were there. We ended up winning against teams like the USA, Turkey, Belgium, Canada, and of course Portugal in the finals. It was the first opportunity for our players to play on a connection that anyone in Europe, North America, South America, or Asia is used to as something normal. This for us is a luxury. So right now, the main obstacle is that 90% of game publishers, when it comes to esports, have not built servers in Africa.
Yeah. Keya or Kofi, you want to react and add something?
Yes, I think that Youssef is completely right. He just did the experience when he is on the same level of infrastructure of the world. And I think that he demonstrates so far that it's paid off. I will let Youssef tell us his history about the Valorant Red Bull clutch. I think that it was a good momentum for Africa from Asia.
Yeah, of course, we used as soon as they gave us the mic, we said these things, because for us, winning that championship was not like any other team would win a championship. Usually people win a championship to excel in their careers or to make money. For us, we wanted to win that championship so our voice would be heard, because the amount of injustice in this sector is crazy, because when we play on a European server against a European team, it's like playing football barefoot against a team with shoes and studs. So it's exactly the same thing. This is our biggest issue right now, is that when we talk to the publisher officially, what they say is, but you guys don't have enough of a spending power, and it doesn't seem like a model that will bring us a good ROI. So they're treating it as a business opportunity when it's called esports.
Exactly.
So sports is about giving you your rights. It's about equal rights for all the nations around the world to participate on the same stage, so they can express their culture. They can show each other from what they've seen in their lives, how they can reflect that in a sport, how they can reflect that to show the value of them as people. That's sports, you know. So it should be our right to have a server here. But right now, it's viewed as a business opportunity. It's viewed as an opportunity that needs some financial bottom lines that make it something that's feasible. And for me personally, in my 6-year career, I see this as something completely toxic. I see this as something that destroys us rather than forms us, because right now, Turkey as a country has a server on its own, and the 16 nations below it don't have one server.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. But of course, we strive to succeed more and more and more, because every time we're given the opportunity, we talk about this, because it's just not fair, you know? So hopefully when we actually, and this is our business model, is that we want to succeed with all of these difficulties, because we believe that when we have equal opportunities, when we have equal quality of connection and equal quality of resources, I don't think there's an argument of what will happen and how Africans will scale in this industry, you know, because it's much quicker than sports. It's much more fair than sports. You're playing on the same platform. There's no corruption. There's no human element when it comes to picking the best player, because you have an AI that studies all the games you play. So this is a huge opportunity for Africans as a whole to actually succeed in a sport that treats you with your value and not your connections, you know? So this is our objective.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Keya, you want to say something to all of that?
Yes, I am fortunate to have had the interaction between you, Kofi, and you, Mr. Youssef. I commend you on what you've been able to accomplish already, both of you. I mean, in a professional aspect as well as a more what's the word for it? In terms of the actual sport, what you've been able to accomplish with your team is a testament of obviously, and one that is obviously of a sporting nature. Because again, like you said, if you were to look at the competition and present the environment that the competition is in, you would easily assess that this is a much bigger upper hand. I agree, and I think the reason why we look at the bottom line in terms of Africa is because, well, we have to be realistic to a point that it's not going to be fair, obviously, because it's business, and gaming itself is a young industry that has evolved off fast from a production point of view. Then when it made its mark on the markets, when we used to use consoles, I remember as a child, it still wasn't fair how the consoles were priced in Africa as opposed to how they're priced they're priced outside in Europe or America. So again, even how fast we got the latest equipment, fast we got the latest equipment. So the way I look at it is simply that how do we fight it? Is we have to build the economy so that like you have proved with your team in terms of esports, we can also compete at that level, because anyway, we need the structure. And again, I commend you for using the monies you got to further put them in your team to build your resource, because again, that's what it takes. And that's how I see both points of view.
Okay, so I will try to take a little on that if Clemens permit me to do that.
Yeah, just to be sure, is Cholwe there? Can she talk?
Cholwe is there?
She's on the room.
Cholwe, are you there?
I think. Oh. Okay, so you can.
I saw.
Yeah, I think that she disconnect many times.
I saw her move around on the stage, like inside the platform.
Yeah. She always out.
There is a.
Oh my God. Okay, so she is back. Okay, Cholwe, are you there? Oh, is Mike? Okay, she gave me the hand. Okay, I will try to, as Nicolas said, is about a fight, and I will try to acknowledge a little my strategy. It's about 8 years that we are in the game, nearly 10 years, because we start first to be an organizer, so we are very aware about this problematic. And then when we move to start our eSport team also, we got already a long, I think, experience about that. But I will just to reveal some critical information for the public also and for the panel, because in Africa, sometimes we say that we don't have data centers, but in fact, we have data centers. But gaming companies don't put their software in these data centers. And this is where the problem is really where, because right now in South Africa, Amazon has data centers. Microsoft has data centers. In Kenya, Microsoft has data centers. In Togo, in my native country, just 1 month ago, they inaugurate a data center. In Nigeria, they have data centers. And me, myself, in Senegal, in 2020, I launched this discussion about data centers with a governmental project called PTN, which is in fact a smart city that the government in Senegal is building. And in Senegal so far, we have 3 data centers. Orange has 1, free telecom as one, and the PTN, which is our kind of smart city for business, as also a data center. But the big problematic, I will try to tell them which is the problem. The first problematic is our government masterize really the business model of gaming, because if you want that company come for install their games in the data centers in the country, the government need to masterize really how it can be sustainable for them. First problematic. The second problematic is the legislation, the legal. Sometimes in our countries, the digital law is just at the beginning. So sometimes the various company from abroad, when they look at Africa in the legal way, they see that, oh my God, this is the jungle there. There are nothing, no rules, how we can protect our business. So when you look at this view, you understand that, okay, this is infrastructure level, governmental level, and legal level. And you need to validate everybody in this level. In 2020, we were, for example, in a conference with Saudi Arabia. And I just heard that Saudi Arabia invests $1 million for their data centers. They have a strategy about that. Why? Because the strategy of the prince, which is young, understand a little the gaming things. So far, Saudi Arabia this year take share in big American companies because they want to hold part of the industry. So this is the reality so far. And us at Gamecampcities, we engage the strategy further. For example, it's about 1 year and 6 months that we work for become a partner of Alibaba Cloud, because we know that Alibaba Cloud is right now the third cloud player in the world and the Olympic partner. Before that they was in the 4th position. And this year they just beat Google Cloud in the market. So the first one in the market is Microsoft Azure. After is Amazon. Yes, Microsoft Azure Cloud, Amazon, which is the Olympic partner. And we succeed to partner with them on 50 countries in Africa about an education program called Alibaba Cloud Academy. So it means that you imagine that myself, which is, I am a creative director, a consultant, I need to begin to learn things that I didn't masterize at all to make the trend advance. And so far, for example, I know that by a data center, I will reveal you the cost. A data center, for example, costs between 3.5 million USD and more. So this is already the amount of money that you need to invest to have a data center in your country from a global players abroad. Or do you want that eSport team or 360 gaming agencies put this money on the table? That's why at a certain level, the government, because I don't like to politicize sometimes the discussion, but at the moment, the government or the institution need to play its role. That's the reality. And I hope that, for example, when Youssef won a worldwide championship in Valorant, or us at Ham Lion, we qualify on the top 8 of the Intel World Open Africa, Middle East, Asia. This kind of story influence authorities and government. They say, oh, they boys without investment, without support, they succeed to go on the top of the mountain. Oh, perhaps it's time to listen to them. So this is the kind of strategy that we have. And as Youssef say, because I have already this kind of discussion with Alibaba Cloud and others, is about the business. The first thing that they ask you, Kofi, how many people can connect to you? How many people can connect to our servers in a day? How many money it can bring back? So you are already confronted to financial demonstration and not potential. This is the take that I want to do on this this discussion.
Yeah,
Okay, I think we will try a last one with Cholwe, and after we will need to finish in 5 or 10 minutes max. Cholwe, can you hear us and can you talk?
Okay.
Oh, I didn't quite hear clearly. Is that a go ahead for me to talk?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes, so I was saying that I agree with what Youssef was talking about. I understand the return on investment, but I believe that the game publishers haven't been entirely fair in the way that they've structured the games. If they were to say, okay, fine, return on investment and such and so forth, then they should publicly sell their games for regions. They should say this game should only be played in North America or Europe and exclude us, because the thing is, it isn't fair to the talent that is constantly buying and investing in these games with their time and passion and energy and their years, investing in franchises, only to be let down when you try to take your passion a step further and get into the competitive scene, which is very unfair. So we're seeing a situation where it's now become deliberate. We found a
Oh, I think we lost her.
I think we lost Cholwe. Yeah, she disconnected. This is the connectivity.
But until she comes back, I wanted to add to what you were saying about the African server issue. That Microsoft has slots available, and that for Egypt, Raya has slots available. There's a lot of places where these people can actually install a functioning server that has a very high quality connection to everyone in the continent. But right now, I think they're choosing not to come here because it's much easier to use our part of the world as a sort of a player pool when it comes to getting secondary players for teams in Turkey, for teams in the Prime League in Spain, like minor leagues in Europe. And I think that's very bad because you're creating a culture of us becoming Division 2 athletes and never having the capability of challenging for a title, and the lovely thing about esports is that they didn't make the mistake football made, for example. The biggest mistake football made was that they made the biggest championships centric on one continent. For example, the Champions League was centric on Europe. Serie A, La Liga, Bundesliga, all of these things are in Europe, but in esports, all of the tournaments are global. So it doesn't make sense that they repaired the model and haven't included us yet. In my eyes, I think that the only way, because we've tried everything in the past 6 years, I think the only way to actually convince them that what we're saying is real is by achieving, and this is what I always tell the players and staff.
I agree.
Is that it's not normal, it's not the normal path for us when we go into a tournament. We actually have a huge responsibility because our achievements are not only reflected financially and are not only reflected in a business way, but they are also reflected in changing this sector's future, or this continent's future.
The perception of Africa
exactly,
to the
because
world.
People think we don't have internet access. People think we don't have that much of potential, but I disagree completely that we are the gem that hasn't been explored yet,
Yeah, exactly. Completely. Cholwe is back. I think that it will be good to let her continue. Yeah, Cholwe is back.
Yeah, sorry guys, internet issues. Yeah, I was saying that I was saying that we need to remain consistent in how we promote our continent and our region, so that even the fire in our players doesn't die out, the fire in our talent doesn't die out. We need to continue to speak for the voiceless. It's extremely unfair that, you know, players in Africa are given the same opportunity to buy the games, buy the consoles, but we're given limited opportunity to excel further in our passion. So I'm hoping that eventually the game publishers will realize that, you know, we can't really track the numbers in Africa, because by default, with the way the platforms were created, they were created in such a way that Africans have to be tracked through EU or EU servers mostly, or NS servers in other games. So by default, if you are not giving us a way...
Oh, she dropped out again.
I think she was gonna say, if you're not giving us away, then it's a shortage from your side. You know, like the Europeans and American companies, they have a huge opportunity to. And I always tell the players this, by the way, it's not always bad to be weak. It's not always bad to be late. You can always use the opportunity of being late and weak as an advantage to learn from others who have reached a stronger or more relative situation than you're in. So we have a huge opportunity to learn from everything good or bad that's happening abroad. I think Cholwe is back.
Exactly.
Okay, I will let 2 minutes to Cholwe, and after we will need to conclude to the last to go to the last talk.
Okay.
Sure.
So Cholwe.
Yeah, let's the stage to Cholwe. She's there.
To him. Okay, so I guess it will be too complicated for her. So if you want to have a final word to conclude this talk, and after I will all make well, I will all give your email to over, so you can continue to talk and
to discuss.
So to discuss. Who want to conclude? You can all have the final word.
Okay, so me, I will say that right now in Africa, as the leaders, all we have resources, experiences, and we can learn from each other. And I think that if we succeed to share the experience of everybody and to learn from their experience to build something strong, I think that definitively the voice will be bigger. Because I will just to give you a little example. When we decided to work with Alibaba Cloud, it was just for one country, Madagascar. We decided to work with the University of Antananarivo for make a partnership, and then because we were decided to launch an academic eSport program there, and because they seen that we already work with the University of Antananarivo as this is something real, they prefer to open the region to 15 countries. What does it mean? It means that on the aspect of Cloud Academy, we open other universities in 50 countries in Africa because we do good, we did good with Madagascar region. So I think that if we succeed each time to, as Youssef did for the Valorant things, if each other try to push the door very easily, I think that we can succeed to have multiple input from the continent, and then they will say that, oh, the continent is moving, shaking, we are obliged to put something there. I think that we need to make more noise.
Okay, thank you very much. So we will need to stop now. Thank you all for your participation. I'm sorry for all your technical issues, but at least we had you a few minutes. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a great day.